DDG presents Xbox, Bethesda, Activision, whatever other titles you want to add in their showcase. I'm kidding. We're going to recap the Xbox Bethesda showcase event that was take place today, June 12th. My name is Dave Hunt, and I'm joined by Michael Swick.
How's it going, Dave? This was we're probably gonna have some good discussions on some of these announcements. But it was a showcase. It was a showcase.
Like, I'm genuinely curious. I know I led with it, but I'm half joking when I did that. But like, is next year gonna be Xbox, Bethesda, Activision, Blizzard showcase? Like, or is it eventually gonna become just like under the Xbox umbrella?
I think early on, after they get the paperwork cleared, it will be the Xbox, Activision, Bethesda press conference, and then as soon as the FCC's off their back, then it's just going to be the Xbox showcase.
Because like even like Todd Howard's like, oh, we're happy at Bethesda, and you know, like he's still referring to himself as Bethesda, which rightfully so. But you know, like they're the kind of their own entity, but they're still under Xbox or under Microsoft technically. So it's just, I was just wondering that on my way home today from work.
Yeah, how they're going to like manage that stuff as they add just more and more companies to their pile.
Right. So, alrighty. So obviously, like if you're listening to this, if you're here normally, thank you for checking us out. Thank you for listening. Downloads have been really good this week, as expected. So as well as anything you can do to help grow that is great. So if you could share the show with your friends or anybody on your social feeds, like, hey, if you're curious about more thoughts about Summer Game Fest that we just put out this week, our previously numbered episode that we put out, and now this, we won't have another, tentatively, unless something ridiculous happens in like the next 48 hours, we won't have another podcast this week. We'll come back like whatever it is, the
next Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, next Monday or Tuesday. So like the 20th, 21st, 22nd, something like that. I don't have a calendar in front of me, sorry. But as always, sharing the show, reviewing is helpful. All the show links, the show notes have links for all the stuff that we do: Discord, Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, PayPal, Teesprings, everything. So we're gonna jump right into the showcase.
Yeah, so they started off, I mean, we knew they were gonna bookend stuff with Bethesda, specifically Redfall and Starfield. So they started off the show with Redfall, so we got to see a little bit of gameplay of Redfall. There was a big emphasis as they're going to like show gameplay this thing, and this was a little bit of gameplay, mostly CG, but like we're getting to the point now in the generations where it's going to be hard to discern like which is which. But yeah, we got to see a little bit of Redfall. It looks good. Because of course it's going to look good. It's Arcane, and it's a co-op shooter, so you kind of know what to expect. As someone who just got done playing like Back 4 Blood, and then there was another one recently, a 4-player game like that. So it looks good. I hope it's doing something different. I didn't really see anything different in this, other than it looks like it's going to be like a tight shooter.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I saw that jumped out to me immediately, and this always happens in these trailers or these gameplay events, is one. It makes me wonder if you can, or if they just choose not to during these trailers, but the player or the person demoing the event never aims down sights.
Yeah.
So, and then I saw like what I think them switching to a different, like a grenade launcher style that was eliminating the vampires. Like it was,
Yeah.
So I'm
it was
curious,
like staking them or something.
So I'm curious about like how that works. I mean, obviously, I know you can't just, like I can see them using a shotgun or a rifle and stunning anybody that's running at them, and then setting them up to do that. I'm hoping that I guess over time you can upgrade that to maybe where you could potentially wipe out multiple numbers at one time. Like I think that would be kind of cool to see, or to have. Like what we all, or what at least what I would want from this is like, okay, like we're gonna, as you get into like quote unquote end game, especially in a cooperative shooter, of like, okay, so I'm gonna be the bullet hose guy, and Michael's gonna be the stake guy, like, and you can build into your class like that. Like that's kind of what I'm hoping that you can see. Versus, I don't want like, because I believe it's class based, correct? Like four or five classes, I think. Or hero based. Sorry, like.
Yes, something like that. It's either class-based or hero-based.
But what I don't want is I don't want what happens in a lot of these games of like there's only like one or two good heroes or classes, and everybody wants to be that one. Like that makes the game stale, bland, and boring fast.
Yeah, they showed just a little bit of just like you might need to rely on a co-op, but with like the staking and stuff like that. Because in the trailer, the the person we started with was bailed out by someone else named
Mhm.
Jacob. So I guess that will be the mechanic is like, hey, you're dealing with vampires, not zombies, so there's no headshots or anything like that. You have to like set them up, to get staked. So
Yeah, I just
I'm
hope that you
wondering
can set
how
some
much that's
traps
going
and
to work.
stuff like that too. I mean, I know
I'm
as
sure
corny
that's
as
going to
it
be.
sounds, like, can I get a garlic trip line? Yeah, like
I hope. Look, but this is also based on like the art style. Like I don't expect it to be a super serious
no,
thing,
I
so
don't
I
either.
wouldn't
But
mind some fun
yeah,
traps.
but like a garlic
Added
clove that
to
I
it.
can pull the vine across or something like
Yeah.
that. Like,
Like I would hope that it's just like, okay, so we need someone to get them in the position that they
yeah,
can be staked, and I hope like you can melee stake them or
yeah,
do whatever
yeah.
you can. So there's a lot of potential here. I honestly think say it at the end too, but I think this was a better like showstopper than what we got for at the end with Starfield.
I agree. Like it just
Yeah,
the
30 more seconds of gameplay would have
yeah
been it would have been like, oh
the
shit, Redfall looks
I don't
amazing.
know what to call this, but the cosmetic look of the game interests me more than Starfield.
Yeah, I was more intrigued of like I need to see more of that as opposed to when we
The
saw
Borderlands ish look, you know.
yeah, as opposed to Starfield, where I was just like, yeah, it's a Bethesda. That's a Bethesda Softworks game. But we'll get to that.
But just real quick, like just because I mean I didn't get to watch the conference, so I've listened to a couple recaps again today. Like, sorry guys, I was working. But they started it like you said with like an emphasis on gameplay, as which they did deliver.
Yeah,
And
not as
then
much as you would totally want ever, but there's
more
never
than
be
we've seen
perfect.
recently.
Yes, more than Summer Game Fest.
And then everything that 99% of what we saw today, I believe, is coming to Game Pass.
Yes,
And it's all coming in the next 12 months, allegedly.
yeah, 12 months, save for delays.
Yeah.
But we will. It's June, so
But
by next June,
I think when they started with that, though, like I was looking a little bit on Twitter, they kind of took some wind out of their own sail when they said, hey, what you see is in the next 12 months. So then there was stuff that people were like, oh, because that kind of takes away the surprises.
Well, yeah, because it was like, okay, we're not going to see Avowed.
Right.
We're not going to see Hellblade.
Right.
Because Hellblade moved to Unreal 5. And then we're not going to see like the rumored Banjo-Kazooie thing, which honestly, Xbox must have looked at their previous two E3 press conferences and were like, oh shit, showing people stuff too early has led to a lot of angry people.
Because now even somebody like me, like even so, I know it's not coming. We've talked about it's not ready, but because it's on Unreal 5, we'll get into the rest of it really quick. I just want to go off on this little mini tangent, but Hellblade's 12 months more away. Like that's a guarantee. Hellblade's not coming before June 2023.
Yeah.
Like so,
maybe it slides into July of next year.
Yeah,
but it's a year out.
It's just kind of one of those things. Outer Worlds,
Outer
2.
Worlds, but they literally only showed a logo for that and have three other games before that.
No.
Like,
I know, but it's just like there's just a
Would've been
lot of
nice.
things, but then it also took out them saying the next 12 months is fine, but it took out some shock and awe of like, holy crap, like they're doing that, like that's gone.
Yeah, there was no, and there's one more thing sort of scenario.
There's a lot of games.
Yeah, there's a lot of games. They gave a lot of dates, which made me happy, but no dates for like gigantic things.
Yeah.
We didn't even get a date for Starfield. We didn't get a date for Redfall. But we did get enough like dates for like other smaller things that are going to kind of fill in the gaps. All right, so we got Hollow Knight, Silksong. It'll be Game Pass day one. Did you play Hollow Knight, or that's on your list?
It's
right?
well, I'm like a half hour in.
Okay.
Like an hour, maybe two, maybe like 3 hours in. So
yeah, so this will be a Game Pass day one.
This makes me want to keep playing it though, because what I saw.
Yeah, I mean it's a gorgeous looking game.
Yeah,
and we don't have a release date, but we'll get one. We know it's coming out within the next year, depending on any delays. Then we got another Squanch Games. So this is like the Rick and Morty team's studio. I don't know if it's their studio, but they're partnered with it. So this looked like a Rick and Morty-ass first-person shooter, which kind of looked fun, but I'm not the biggest Rick and Morty fan. And then what was probably one of the biggest bits of news that came out of this is they so Xbox, I think they had Sarah Bond come out for this. But she basically came out and was like, hey, Game Pass is also about PC. We're not going to just emphasize all of our resources onto consoles. PC and mobile are important. So they have partnered with Riot Games. And now Riot Games, they're Well, a lot of their library is free to play, but what they're going to do is if you're on Game Pass PC, you're going to unlock every champion in League of Legends. You're going to unlock all the champions in the League of Legends mobile game. You're going to unlock all the agents in Valorant, Legends of Runeterra, and then you're going to get some of the fighters from the mobile game Teamfight Tactics. So is this any of this mine and Dave's jam? No, but we also know that League of Legends and Valorant are two of the biggest games on PC.
They just eliminated a huge barrier of entry, though.
Yes, because especially with how many legends are in
Yeah.
League of Legends, like we're talking like a shit ton.
And then you also, like, my wife was asking me about like how big of a deal this was, and I was like, well, if you want an instantaneous jolt to your player count, you got it.
Yeah, and they don't need it, which
Yeah.
is the thing. But if you're already playing League of Legends and you're just like, shit, I don't want to grind for all this or put the money down for all the
$15 a month, you can
heroes,
have all you want.
Yeah. There you go, and then like you just end up focusing your resources on cosmetics. But yeah, no, I just looked it up. There's over 140 champions.
Yeah.
I think a total of.
How do you think a player that's been grinding all these champions for this long feels about what they saw today?
I think the community is so like focused on their stuff. There might be a little pushback on some of that stuff, but most of the time, like all my friends that play League of Legends, they just have one hero that they focus on, one legend that they focus on, and that's where they put all of their resources into, money and time wise. But this now, if you're right, if you're a League of Legends player who's focused on just one champion, or you're only focused on one Valorant champion, now you're like, oh, I'm going to go mess with this one, and I'm going to also dump some microtransactions into that one now.
Yeah, so I'm really curious.
This is huge for PC.
Yeah, I'm really curious about what the how this conversation happened, because like obviously Microsoft went to Riot and said, "Hey, how much?" And then Riot gave them a number, and then Microsoft said, "Okay, but if we pay you that, and then you see a significant increase in players and microtransactions and blah 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 because of this, like there has to be a kickback for us, like there has to be a little bit of a give and take.
Even if it's a small percentage, you're like
where the money's coming from. If they're a Game Pass subscriber, if they're not a Game Pass subscriber, based on their, if all of a sudden your Microsoft, because I'm sure you got to make a Microsoft account. I mean, you have to make a Microsoft account to have Xbox, to have Game Pass. So, and then if they're seeing the attachment to this, like, I'm sure Microsoft is getting some kind of kickback to this as well. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. So.
Yeah, or they saw it of just like, what, we're both going to win off this, so there might not even be like sort of a kickback thing set up, because it might be like, this is mutually beneficial. Just give us a, a one
it drives the number down, I think, for Xbox to go, hey, we're going to give you 25 million more players potential, yeah.
Especially when we add like they're doing this for mobile games, so Xbox is dipping into the mobile market that isn't just streaming content. So yeah, it's going to be beneficial to both companies. Like, this is kind of a big deal, but like most console gamers, us included, we're not too keyed into League of Legends, but we are aware Riot Games is one of the biggest studios in the world.
Yeah, when you're already having 125 million active players in League as it is, that number's only going to go up. So
yeah, and it might bring people to return. So there's dormant accounts that are like, oh yeah, I have a League of Legends account and Game Pass right now, so let me just connect the two. So that was probably like the biggest
wow thing.
Yeah. And they knocked it in the first, like, I was worried because like when they started the show, it was like trailer for Redfall, trailer for Hollow Knight, trailer for the Get High on Life Squanch games. I was like, oh shit, are they not going to have like people here doing things? And luckily we saw Sarah Bond, and then she was just like, hey, we're doing this thing, and they kicked it to the head of Riot Games. So it was nice to see people on stage, because I was worried it was just going to be trailer. So they broke it up a little bit. We got Forza Motorsport coming out in spring 2023. Look good. To be honest, I was watching a little bit on a delay. I kind of fast forwarded through the Forza thing because it did.
Yeah,
it was a pretty
car paint chip, chips off like this, and I'm like, Okay. Like, okay, car game looked cool, like normal, like par for the course.
Car game looks
the
beautiful.
thing that I didn't realize though, and I saw this in one of the recap videos I listened to on my way home from work, this is the same engine that the new Fable game is going to run on.
Yes.
So that's, not that we're going to get that type of necessary detail in the Fable game, but the potential of like what like the wilderness and stuff like that's going to look like.
Which is why there was a little bit of emphasis, because at one point in the demonstration or whatever that they were doing, would want to call it, they just focused on like a creek and some woodland areas, and it was just like, that's weird, but like now knowing that, it's like, okay, that's probably why they're like, look at our water physics, because I thought it was a little weird. If it's like, why are you focusing on the water? Like, we're gonna be driving 120 miles from past that. So spring 2023, sounds like Xbox could have like a super jam-packed first half of 2023, which just makes me think like, you're gonna have to delay some of these games. Like,
well, they between their Game Pass, I mean, and I don't know if you're saying this at the end or not, but between their Game Pass contracts and what they announced today, like they released a graphic, like they talked about there's 50 games coming to either Game Pass or Xbox first party in the next 12 months, tentatively planned. Like that image showed, like, because Hollow Knight's not a Xbox studio, correct?
No,
yeah,
it's not.
But they have a deal, obviously, and they're on there. There's a bunch of other games on there too, but there's like that graphic they released. There's 50 games on there, 25 of them this year, 25 of them next year.
Yeah, so. And and they have some like non-Game Pass, non-Xbox exclusive ones on that like image that they're showing. But yeah, there's a ton of games coming out, and like we're only talking about like one platform, realistically. PlayStation should be releasing God of War eventually within the next year, so we'll get that. Then we got thing I was super happy to see, Plague Tale Requiem. So we got a nice new trailer for that. I don't believe is this still coming out this year? I'd have to look at it, but either way, looks amazing. It looks like they definitely increased like the budget and the scope. As someone who played the first one, I really enjoyed being able to play it in one 10-hour sitting. I know that sounds crazy, but like that's
and as much as you've been praising it and had it higher in your list, I never got to it. But hearing that it's 10 hours makes me want to just like, hey, I can take care of it in a week.
Yeah. So I'm hoping it's still within that range, but it looks like they have upped like a lot of the stuff, especially like visually.
Yeah, if it hovers around the 15 to 18 and they tell a good story, I think we're okay.
Yeah, we're definitely okay.
If you start getting into the 25 plus, like, oh boy.
Yeah, then at that point it's gone too far. So I'm hoping it stays in there, and it is going to be Game Pass day one. I'm still probably going to buy it on PS5 physically, but I don't have to do it day one as long as I have my Xbox and it comes out before my Game Pass expires. So that's coming out sometime this year. This could be another, like, this is a perfect year for Plague Tale's sequel to come out in terms of there's not going to be a lot of holiday competition for Game of the Year stuff.
Are they shooting for this? Are they shooting for the end of this year?
Yes, sometime this year. Originally they said like summer, but now it just sounds like it's
September, October is a great time for this game.
Yeah, especially like if God of War does slip into 2023, because like this was like a sleeper Game of the Year contender for some people, and that's without people knowing that it was going to be a thing. Now we got a sequel that if they're able to match and exceed what they did previously, like there's not a lot of competition this year, so this is like perfect time for this franchise to keep going. We got Flight Simulator gonna get a Halo crossover.
40 years old, like wow.
That made me feel like shit.
Yeah.
Like when I saw that, I'm like, how is it 40 years old? Overwatch 2 coming out this year, October 4th, in early access, and it's going to be free to play.
PvP.
Which is, yeah, well, they basically said they're separating the PvP, PvE, but like, that's pretty big. It is funny though, there was like a fair amount of Activision Blizzard stuff happening in this conference, but they couldn't really like point out stuff or say anything in particular.
I also thought it was like super interesting that it seemed like, I don't know if you got this same vibe that I got. It seemed like, I know, like obviously, like watching a stream is delayed. Being on Twitter is a little delayed versus like what's happening live or when like Xbox and Activision were in communication about stuff. But Activision was releasing the info about this and Diablo, I felt like 2 to 3 minutes before it showed up during the showcase.
Kinda, yeah. It definitely felt like that. But yeah, Overwatch 2, it looks fine. This is probably the best way to release Overwatch 2 because it sounds like the development's been kind of a mess.
Well, that's what you wanted, right? You wanted it to be free to play for PvP.
Yeah, I can't remember if they finally broke away from the idea of like Overwatch 1's carrying over into Overwatch 2 and you can play with each other. Still hoping that they like drop that shit. But I really want to see what this game looks like outside of what we saw already with like the Twitch streamers and stuff. Playing it was it like a month ago? So I'm really hoping that we see just a little bit more of this. But October, perfect time to release this early access. Still don't know exactly what that means because it feels like a game like Overwatch shouldn't be going into early access, especially if it's still tied to the first game.
I think it just means that the game's in development hell, that hopefully they're trying to tell a cool story, but it ain't ready.
Yeah, or they're trying to say like, well, technically we never stopped working on Overwatch 1, so why call it a full release? We'll see how this shakes out. It did get me interested because as someone who put like thousands of hours in Overwatch 1, I didn't give a shit about Overwatch 2. So now that it's going free to play, it will get a download for me as opposed to me putting $60 down on it because I do play it on consoles where it costs $60 as opposed to on PC where it was a $40 game. Then we got Arc 2, another trailer coming out next year. It just Vin Diesel looking weird. Like, I don't know, like seeing Vin Diesel's legs, animated Vin Diesel's legs, it just freaked me out for some reason. Especially like caveman Vin Diesel is just kind of weird. Like if that dude's not driving a car, like it just seems weird.
I don't have any thoughts on Ark. Sorry, like
I don't either. Like it's Ark is one of those franchises. When I first saw trailers for Ark, like the first game, I was like, "Oh shit, this is a dinosaur game that we've been wanting." And then gameplay came out, and I was just like, "Oh shit, this isn't something that interests me at all."
Yeah.
So when I see Ark 2, I'm just like, eh. Then we got a new strategy game coming to PC, Game Pass, Aura History Untold, which I feel like during Summer Game Fest we saw like 2 or 3 of these type of Civilization like games, but it didn't really do anything for me. Forza 5, was it Forza 5 or it's Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah, Hot Wheels DLC.
Hot Wheels DLC, which is basically like, hey, Mexico, very beautiful, like the way they developed it, and then it's like, but what if there were Hot Wheel tracks? And it looks super fun actually. Which I didn't think they were going to continue to do like Hot Wheels stuff in Forza because, you know, Hot Wheels has its own game and everything, but I guess it's still going. A trailer I was going to show Dave Scorn, but I didn't want to give him nightmares.
I saw a little bit of this, but
yeah, this is Ebb Software. This is like, I don't know, this is nightmare fuel stuff. It's just like a super gory FPS game. So this definitely is something. As soon as a dude pulled out an umbilical cord from his corpse, I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna play this. But it is coming to Game Pass and it's coming out October 21st. So this could be one of those like things that gets in there. A game that I thought looked really good, Flintlock.
I agree. Yeah,
this was kind of a surprise. This is. Really
I feel
good.
like this is Xbox's counterpunch to what's it called?
Forspoken?
Yes, I was gonna say
That's
Avowed.
how
I was gonna say Avowed, but I knew that wasn't right.
Yeah.
This is like, okay, we don't have this. Okay, well, this other company's okay. Get it? Like, we got it.
Yeah, get it on Game Pass right away.
Yeah.
This looked great. Like, so you had just this one character with like magic abilities with like a cool little like animal.
Anytime there's a cute creature, you got Michael.
Oh yeah. I'm totally down. But then like the fact that like out of nowhere, like it can like you can fly on it and it can like teleport through portals. I'm like, okay, this looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
And it has like the Souls combat looking thing, but a little bit more accessible with the different abilities.
And I feel like that there is always, and this is how I kind of, and I'm getting this out in the middle, but there obviously is a risk reward with whatever, obviously what they're doing with Game Pass, but to the consumer and to me, you know what? I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna check that out because it's on Game Pass. Like I don't have to spend the money and worry if I'm gonna play it or not play it. It's just it's there, it's available, and if I hate it in an hour, I move on. There's something else to check out. Like that's
totally a benefit.
And I get it, like that it might affect the quality of your games, but then also like you get a really cool gem to come out of that. That's like, wow, you know.
Yeah.
And this could be one of those gems.
Oh yeah, especially for you who like probably wouldn't have wanted to put $60 down on something, or $70.
Yeah.
As we talked about a couple days ago. It definitely has that benefit. Like I don't know what the long-term effects of Game Pass is going to have on like the quality of games coming out. But in terms of like a game that looked mildly interesting and you actually getting around to playing it, especially with how many games released currently, like Flintlock comes out $70 and then a bigger PlayStation or Xbox game comes out around the same time.
Flintlock comes out in October. God of War is in November. I'm saving my money for God of War. Slam dunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and then by the time you finish God of War, the next big game comes out, and then you're like, "Oh, I'll pick it up on sale," and then you forget it exists.
Versus, oh, Flintlock came out yesterday. I forgot about it. Oh, I have it on Game Pass. Let me play it. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, that was great.
Yeah,
you know,
and we'll have the same potential discussions when like PlayStation Plus pulls out their service.
Stray will be like that for me. You know, I wouldn't have bought Stray. I will play Stray.
Yeah, and Stray is going to get me to convert into PlayStation Plus Extra. So this is just how things are going. And I know like we have people that listen that hate our Game Pass talk, but I'm sure in a next week they will be all down into like loving the Game Pass strategy when they get PlayStation Premium.
But this is what we've been talking about though. Like there's 50 games on that graphic, and I want to say like at least 30 of them are Game Pass, correct? I mean, without counting, I would you know, I think it's a safe bet. Over half are Game Pass. So now in the next 12, like we've been talking about, what are they going to do to keep their subscribers interested in paying attention? You're getting at least 2 games a month.
Yeah, at least 2.
Potentially, over averaged out over the next 12 months. Like, yes, so is some stuff going to get pushed out? Sure, yeah.
It was easier to count the ones that aren't coming to Game Pass, and it's looking like 5 or 6 of those games are not coming to Game Pass. So
over 40.
Of the 50 games they showed.
So I mean, like that's crazy to me, and like that, and they did what I wanted them to do. They gave me a reason to continue to want to keep my subscription.
Yes, and they definitely did that for me, where I'm going to be looking at some of these. Like, during the holidays, I'm probably going to look to try and stack my Game Pass Ultimate if I find a deal.
Yep.
Because it's looking pretty good.
Sorry.
Then we saw Gunfire Reborn. This one is completely slipping my mind. It's a roguelike game. Oh, this is the one with like the cute little animals that were shooting around. It looked fun. This definitely fits into the.
It's already out on PC.
Yeah, this fits into like the Game Pass selection. That's like, I'll just download it, even if I never get around to playing it. You just download. Lightyear Frontier, which I thought for the love of God was a No Man's Sky expansion. So this basically is No Man's Sky, where you're in a mech and you're just building farms on planets. So this looked interesting, coming out in 2023 in the spring. Totally, if you watch the trailers, it just looks like No Man's Sky. Then we got Minecraft Legends. This is coming next year. So this looked kind of similar to what was the Minecraft game that came out?
Minecraft Dungeons.
Dungeons. So this definitely.
I feel like this is Mojang understanding and growing with its audience. Like knowing that your audience initially, like your big. I don't even know if this is true or not. I'm just guessing here. Your big Minecraft audience is 6 to 11-year-old. Okay, and so that started what 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. Like I don't even know.
Like
whatever.
10 years ago. Yeah, like literally like 10 years.
Yeah.
ago.
So and now like as that brackets moved up, Minecraft Dungeons kind of like teased it, and people bought it and played it and really liked it. Okay, let's see if we can go a little farther, where it's still Minecraft, but now it's a strategy game. It's an RPG, and they're kind of like they're growing. Like where like okay now it's like I mean I hate to say it like this, but like now you're a teenager, you know how to dunk a basketball. Like like
well, it goes into like how long can you play Minecraft as a sandbox before
Right.
you're like, you know what, I kind of need something more as you get older. And then this is where Dungeons and Legends comes in, where it's
I
like,
did.
okay, here it is.
I've watched Owen play Dungeons, and
Mm-hmm.
he's progressively gotten better because of his basic Minecraft knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So I would feel like in a year, at 7 years old, 8 years old, that he could possibly be able to play this game. And that's fascinating.
Yeah, and then this will be like the gateway drug of like, oh, that was kind of a strategy game. Let me look at like some of the other strategy games, once he like
once he learns how
gets
to
around
read.
to it. Yeah. Well, once he learns how to like read and just like, the basic comprehension stuff that goes along with aging. So like, this is a smart way to use the Minecraft franchise as opposed to just hoping and praying that like you can just keep the sandbox running forever. Then we got like a Metroidvania game, The Last Case of Benedict Fox. This looked kind of interesting to me, but not too much. As Dusk Falls, this is that really interesting looking game I think we saw last year, where it's more of like a interactive story, but like the characters move kind of like pictures almost.
Yeah,
like,
somebody I was
motion.
listening to on the way home was like, is this like a 1 frame a second game?
Yeah, it's basically like when you see
like
the
a
characters
flip
moving,
book.
like, yeah, it's this art. I was watching. I'm like, this looks interesting, but I don't know if I can play a whole game like that.
Yeah, if they don't nail the narrative.
So I'm not too sure.
Yeah. If they don't nail the
from
narrative, I don't think this game will succeed.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It's got to tell a great story.
Yes, it definitely needs to do that. And then we got Grounded is finally coming out of early access, which is about time. The
more I see of this game, the more I just need to like. I talk out of both sides of my mouth. Like I know this is on Game Pass. It's been on Game Pass early access for a long time. I've never downloaded it. I've never checked it out. Anytime I see a trailer or a video or a stream on it, I'm like, that looks a lot of fun, and then I forget.
Yeah, I downloaded it and I messed around with it. I was interested in the story, which there just wasn't much story, and this coming out of early access is promising like, here's the story. The story will be out in September, which means I'll go back to re-downloading it because the sandbox aspect was interesting, but I didn't find there to be too much for me to enjoy. So I'm just glad this is done, and it's one less thing Obsidian has to worry about. So they get working on Avowed. I think they had another game announcement during this, and then they can.
They're next.
Yeah.
the Pentiment, a medieval narrative adventure.
Yeah, so they just announced another small game, Pentiment, which looked kind of cool. A smaller game, so it's nice to see the Obsidian gets to like stretch their legs and do this new game called Pentiment. But also, I'm just like, okay, get these games out so you can work on Outer Worlds and Avowed, and then get to the Fallout stuff. Please get to the Fallout stuff eventually, because I don't want Bethesda working on Fallout anymore. So come on, get this over with. And then we got Naraka Blade Point was announced. I would have to relook at what this game was, but that's coming out. I believe it's. Oh, this is the Battle Royale. It's like a melee focused with some powers Battle Royale. Apparently, it's really popular on PC or maybe other countries, but it's finally coming to consoles June 23rd.
Okay.
This is one of those ones where it's like millions of people have enjoyed this Battle Royale, and I'm just like, I've never heard of this, but I think I'm like
that deep dark PC web, man. Like it's a deep web,
dude. Like anytime there's like one of those announcements where it's like millions of people have enjoyed, I'm just like, I'm like a person. Like how come I'm not? How come I didn't hear about this? Then we got.
I'm cool. I swear, I know what that is.
Yeah, it's like shit. I should know. Like I could be one of the millions, but I'm not. Then we got Diablo 4 stuff coming 2023.
Did you really think this game was coming out in 2023?
No, because it's just Activision in development hell, or Blizzard in development hell, so I wasn't expecting
Not
that.
even in development hell, in employee hell, like they're leaving.
Yeah, hell. I mean, Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
They got their office there.
And it looks really good.
It looks really good, though. I'm not a biggest Diablo
No,
fan,
but I
so
guess they
part of
went
me.
more back to 2 and less, like, because 3 was a little bit too bright and colorful for people, I guess.
Yes, that was a big thing that they
Yeah.
emphasized when they first announced the game. But yeah, they showed off the new class Necromancer. To be fair, when they were showing like the CG trailer for the Necromancer, I was like, "Oh shit, what game is this? This game looks
Yeah.
dope." And then they said it was Diablo, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I like Diablo, but
Yeah.
like,
But I hate to say this because I know like Lebetsky's gonna roll his eyes or whatever. But guess what? Game Pass.
yeah, which is funny. That was the thing that we were like.
So if we're
kind
skeptical about it, it doesn't matter. Like you can just
Yeah.
play it. If you don't like it, you can move on. I'm sorry, but like it's factual. Like,
Yeah, no, but the thing about it, what I was confused about, I'm like, are they really gonna start announcing like Activision Blizzard stuff coming to Game Pass? And it's just like, yes, they already starting those discussions. I mean, we knew eventually it was going to happen.
if
like,
it
when the deal was
sucks,
done.
like all of a sudden Diablo's gonna come out and you're gonna have a ton of hype. People that are being Diablo fans for life. They're going to be playing it, and they're going to break the servers or whatever on the first week it's out, like they always do. And you're going to hear great things about Diablo for like a month, 6 weeks. Oh, should I play it? Should I not? Damn, it's $70. Like, you know what? I'm going to check it out. And if I get hooked, great. Who knows? Like, it showed up on my Facebook memories today. Like Destiny 1's alpha or whatever came out today, 8 years ago. And
yeah,
I was skeptical if I was going to like Destiny. Okay?
Mhm.
And it turns into a game that I've been playing for 8 years. So if I enjoy Diablo, God knows what's going to happen. You know?
yeah.
If I play it and the 3 or 4 of my friends are playing with it and I get hooked and I go through something and I have a great thing and it hits that dopamine hit for me that I need at the time, like I'm playing. But I'm not $100 invested and concerned and worried about spending the money or leaving it in a shrink wrap, Michael.
Yeah. You're not gonna have to worry too much about that. Did they say this was coming to Game Pass for sure?
I don't know. I would assume.
Yeah. Even then, like the deal will be done and it'll come to Game Pass like as soon as the deal is finished. So, but still, yeah, it's definitely something to look forward to. Because for some reason it's missing from that like 50 games list, which probably means it's going to get delayed past June 2023. Because I don't think
they're already.
Release it.
Don't put that in the picture, dude. That'll become a meme.
It's like it's July 1st. Like don't put it in there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is going to be this image that they released of the 50 games is going to become a bingo card.
In 11 months, it's going to have a bunch of red X's on it.
Yeah, like missed it. Starfield.
God, I hope not, but it will.
And it's going to like there had to be there's reasons that some of the games did not make this list that they put out. Then we got a Shadow Legacy game coming to Game Pass day 1. Team Ninja is putting out Wulong Fallen Destiny. This a cool
Dynasty.
Oh yeah, sorry. Okay. Fallen. He said. Destiny,
remind me what Team Ninja's done before.
Ninja Gaiden, I believe.
Okay, that's what I thought, but
yeah. So
I get them and like Ninja Theory confused. And, like...
Yeah. They did Neo.
Okay.
Neo 1 and 2, and then they did this. This is interesting. Like Phil Spencer came out afterwards to be like, we really want to do well in Japan, so we partnered with Team Ninja, who we used to have a relationship with, and now the relationship has started again. Didn't say they acquired them or anything because they can't acquire anybody right now, right. But they at least said like, hey, this is coming to Game Pass in 2023, and it looks good. So Team Ninja, they're in like a pretty good row, in terms of like what they're putting out with Neo. And then they did Strangers of Paradise as well. Okay. So the Final Fantasy game not too long ago, which gameplay wise people really enjoyed it. Story wise people hated it. So they put out fun gameplay. This is when we got the Kojima news. So the long awaited Kojima reveal happened. Phil Spencer basically said like, we have partnered with Kojima and he's going to do some like high-end...
He's going to do a thing.
He's going to do a thing that no one's ever done before because he's going to be leveraging the power of the cloud. And then they had Kojima on a video call basically saying like, I don't have anything to show right now, but I'm excited to work on something that I've been wanting to work on since my career started, but never got the chance to because he was tied to Konami and then didn't have the money for it. Now Xbox has dumped a bunch of money on him and said like, yo, we have some new tech. We don't even know if this will work. Here you go. So Kojima, it's going to be a while before we see what this is.
This reminded me very, very much of his Sony announcement years ago of like, hey,
yes.
I'm here. I'm doing a thing. Have a great day.
And to be fair,
yeah, it's fine.
Death Stranding came out relatively fast. So like this could be one of those things that it could come out in a couple years. But basically they emphasize like, hey, we are trying new shit here. We're trying to leverage the cloud in different ways that we didn't think would work. And Kojima wants to challenge himself, which I don't blame Kojima for. He's 60 years old, I think. So it's one of those things where he's just like, I want to do something different that isn't just what people expect of me, because people just want him to work with PlayStation, with Konami to get Metal Gear back, or work on Silent Hill or Death Stranding 2. And he's just like, you know what? I just want to do something completely different. And also lets him just fuck around with something for a couple years. So it works out in his favor. Like, this sounds like the perfect, like, sort of deal for him to just be like, oh, you're going to let me just tinker around with your cloud tech? Cool. So we'll see what that happens. Dave, any thoughts on Kojima working with this? Do you think fanboys cried?
No, because I don't know. Like, based on what Norman Reedus like tweeted like 2 weeks ago, like, is his studio now big enough with both of the money from Sony and from Xbox that he could be working on two projects at the same time?
Do you think Norman Reedus even knew what game he was working on? Or did he just assume he was working on Death Stranding 2? Because we remember when the voice actors went on strike, there was a thing of like, the studios were like, we do not have to tell you what you're working on. So I wonder if like Norman Reedus has hit the point where it's Kojima calls him, is like, yo, can you just come in a bodysuit and I'm just going to mocap you? And Norman Reedus is like, fuck it. And then
yeah,
like, he does it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Kojima guy. So like, I usually just end up more confused when he talks or I see anything of what it, like, I still don't know what Death Stranding is. So I don't have anything either way. I don't know.
Yeah. I really think like this is the thing that Kojima's working on, and there's a good chance that like they had Norman Reedus doing some voice acting or some mocap. Yeah.
So Lebetsky goes, if it's overdose, wouldn't they just say it's overdose? Not if Kojima doesn't like the name overdose.
Yeah, that could just be a code name, and then he's just like, I have another name that's
could be a mechanic of the game is to become overdosed and then act like Kojima playing a video. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing, is we don't know what Kojima's doing, what he's thinking. We never will. So I don't know. I this is definitely one of those things where...
This is the epitome and the how jacked up the gaming world is right now. You got Sony buying Bungie, you got Microsoft buying Activision and Bethesda, and you got like these companies paying for their games to be on Game Pass, and now Kojima is working with Xbox, and cats are sleeping with dogs.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Kojima, who like refused to put Metal Gear on Xbox, and I'm pretty sure Lebetsky backed me up on this. There was a joke about Xbox being shit, like a shit platform in Metal Gear Solid 4. So like Kojima does not like Xbox, but what he does like is new technology and money. So
or creative freedom.
Yes, creative freedom, new technology, and a shit ton of money, and probably like a really long timetable because it's working with new technology, so he can dick around with stuff.
And it's 27 studios to help him.
Exactly, yeah. And we're not even talking about 27 studios. He's working with the cloud technology, so if they want Microsoft's ear, they could probably get it to be like, yo, we need the Microsoft engineers, not Xbox engineers, Microsoft engineers.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things of like, what world are we living in that, you know, I can play MLB The Show on my Switch in my car, like,
and someone who made fun out of a platform in a previous game is now working with that platform. So I don't know. It's crazy. I think it's super cool. I don't think Kojima Productions is big enough for two games. So I have a feeling whatever Project Overdose is, it's this. And it's just, you got to give the project some name. You probably have to tell Norman
or
Reedus
is Death Stranding 2 farther along than we thought? and Death Stranding 2 comes out in the next 12 to 15 months, and then the next project starts.
There's a chance that could be a possibility, or Kojima's working on like a smaller.
Did Sony convince Kojima to do a Miles Morales type of Death Stranding 2?
Maybe, or it just isn't going to be a thing,
right?
Or maybe 505's publishing, and they're just like, we don't have money, so here we go. All right, moving on back to trailers and stuff that was showing. Cocoon is a colorful like puzzle game from the studio of Limbo, or not the studio, because that studio's been acquired by Microsoft. So this is just designers from inside in Limbo making their own game. I saw the trailer. I could not tell you what exactly the puzzle mechanics are. It's like you're moving these colored marbles around with your like butterfly protagonist, and I couldn't.
It looks really cool, but I don't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing about puzzle games, is sometimes explaining the mechanics. Unless it's Tetris, it's really hard to explain the puzzle mechanics in a 30-second trailer. A game that looked really cool, Ravenlock. Looks like it's like a twist on Alice in Wonderland. It's coming to Xbox, PC, Game Pass in 2023. I think this looked really nice.
This is probably one of the coolest things that I saw. This is the Riverbound team, Michael.
That makes sense. Yeah, it totally kind of had that style, but like on a different level in terms of. I feel like
this is what an independent studio can do when they have a proven track record of that they can put out a game that's good, and then another company's like, hey, you know what? What can you do if we give you some extra money?
Yeah, what if we give you guaranteed sales? This looks really cool. I really love the art style and how they're interpreting Alice in Wonderland. So I'm kind of hyped for this. This might have been one of the better games that I saw at the thing.
My three favorite things that I've seen this week are all like whimsical, brightly colored, like not over the top horror ripping arms off games.
That's one thing. Like Summer Game Fest, a lot of those games look the same.
Mm-hmm.
This had a very nice, diverse set of games. Which was nice to see. So I was really impressed with like the depth and like the diversity in like games that we saw. This is one of those things that I was super excited to see, but I'm like, if these don't come to PlayStation, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. Persona 3, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5. Obviously, Persona 5 is already there. Persona 5 Royale is coming to Xbox.
All right,
PC,
so real quick before you go farther, help me out with my ignorantness. They're not on PlayStation now? I mean, they're not currently on the PlayStation platform, or they're not part of the PlayStation subscription service?
So Persona 3 and Persona 4 Golden are not on the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation services.
What are they on?
Persona 5 is. Persona 4 Golden was a Vita game that was brought to PC last year, and Persona 3 was a PSP game that was brought onto...
Again, I'm sorry, I'm ignorant.
Yeah. But... Well, this is one of those things where like this is like a big get for Xbox, and if they somehow get the exclusive for Persona 3 and Persona 4 Golden on console, that's fucking huge, because Persona 4 Golden is like a fucking huge game, especially in like Japan.
And again, Lebetsky can eye roll himself, whatever. People will buy Game Pass because of this.
Yeah, especially like the Persona 4 Golden is already on PC, but it's not on PC Game Pass.
Right.
But it's on PC, and it's actually a pretty decent port. And people were like, why isn't this coming to console? And if PlayStation fucking misses out on Persona 4 Golden and especially Persona 3, because they have PSP emulation coming to PlayStation Plus next week. So like if they miss out on Persona 3 and Golden, like this is a huge win for Xbox. Like me and Sarah were super excited when we saw Persona 4 Golden pop up like during the press conference, because I was not expecting that.
But it's like I almost feel like somebody similar to you or Sarah would think, oh, I want to get rid of Game Pass. You know what? But I might want to play Persona next month, so let's keep it. And then 2 months later, I want to get rid of Game Pass, but we might play Persona in 2 months, so let's just keep it. You know?
Yeah. And then I believe they said Persona 5 is coming to Game Pass in September. No release dates for 3 or 4, but they're their own standalone individual things, so you don't have to follow a story from game to game. So I'm just going to be interested to see like what happens with 3 and 4. But we know it's coming out within the next year, so that was pretty good. And I believe after that, that's when we just kind of got the show wrapped up, and we got a first look at Starfield gameplay. So we got like 10 to 15 minutes of Starfield showing off customization, both character and ship customization, which looked pretty cool in terms of like the ship customization.
This is like this is like Fallout No Man's Sky, like had a lot of sex.
Yeah, but like not great at it. And like and then we got like gameplay, and like just the shooting sucks in Fallout. Okay,
you can see why this game is delayed.
Yes. There were so many weird things. Like the smoke almost looked like it was on a completely different frame rate, like Miles Morales, Spider-Verse style. And then anytime gunplay happened, the frame rate would be a little choppy, and then the characters seemed like they were moving at a different frame rate than the rest of the game.
Yeah, and then
like
their health bars went down hella fast.
Yeah. I think this looked bad.
It looked rough. It looked rough. I would need to really like probably watch this like on my television, like not on my phone.
I would be interested to watch it on your television, because you'll notice the frame rate stuff. It's just like shit. And
then the other part of it is like I've never really gotten into Fallout again. Like I know like some of the stuff that I have never played is weird. I'm sorry, guys. But it looks almost borderline overwhelming. Like building the ship is cool. Building the weapon system is cool. Flying it and fighting it and hoping it doesn't blow up. Like that's all cool. Curating my character with different traits and knowing all this other stuff. Like that's cool. There's 1,000 planets to. Okay, that's a lot of shit.
So it says 1,000 planets, but they emphasize like, and this barren planet that might have resources. It's like, okay, yeah, there are 1,000 planets, but I'm sure not all of them are going to be
the best tweet I saw was either somebody that used to write wikis or something like that. He goes, and every wiki writer just cried out in pain because you're going to have to put like, because there's going to be that one planet that somebody finds that has great resources on it, and like it's just gonna like explaining how to get to the planet. It's gonna go here, go to this moon and hang a left, and then go to that moon and hang a right. Like
the scale that the game is on is like very impressive, especially for a Bethesda game. It's not quite No Man's Sky levels, which is infinite, but like I just don't think the game looked good. Like I really hope they can put it together, but the game looked kind of rough, especially like.
Well, if it comes out June 11th, 2023, they hit the day.
Yeah, they'll hit.
That's a 7 month. That's a 7-month delay, and they'll hit the next 12 month.
Since it's Bethesda, whatever Tuesday is a 23rd is when we'll get the game, because they like some sort of symmetry. So hold on. I'm gonna just look real quick. Fuck. Okay.
You're saying they like 20 symmetry. Like, why do you? What's 23 for symmetry? Like 2, 3 something? Oh, because of. Oh, so you want
next year's 2023?
I got you. So.
I don't think any.
So like May 22nd, 23.
May 23rd, 2023. Yeah. Clip it, book it.
5/23/23.
Yes, that'll be the symmetry that they go for this, and it'll be really close to the 1 year mark. But it needs a lot. To me, it needs a lot of work. Like, I'm pretty sure. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that game was running at 30 frames per second, and it was when the ship landed. You saw like, again, the world was fine in terms of like character movement, but like when the ship landed, it was like, oh, you dip frame rates, but only for the ship.
I just wonder if this is the video that Bethesda brought to Spencer and said, "Hey, we got our Starfield showcase for you guys for the June showcase." And he's like, "Okay," and he watches it and he goes, "This game comes out in 5 months?" No, it does not.
And that had to be like in terms of, and Bethesda's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, he's like, no, no, you don't do that. We did not buy you to play Band-Aid. Like, you're gonna delay this game. Well, until it's ready.
Yeah. And then they tell him like, "Are there any game-breaking bugs?" And they're like, "Just a few." And they're like, "God damn it!" Like,
as he carries this binder in his hand that he can't hold his hand with, like he can't hold it in his hand.
This is from our QA team, but don't worry, they're not unionized like Activision.
And Spencer's like, "No."
Yeah, no.
Get out. Get out.
And then they're like, "Okay, so we're giving you the most powerful console to play with. You don't have to worry about multiple platforms outside of PC." How steady is a 60 frames per second?
Get it running on the X. We'll take care of the PC part. Yeah. That's why we exist. Yeah. Make it run on the X.
They're like, nail 60 frames, and Todd Howard's like, what about 25? And they're just like, damn it. And their compromise is like, okay, so your character will move at 30 frames per second, but the NPCs 25.
And the guys, the video that I watched, the recap goes, "Why does every Bethesda game require the NPC to be a foot away from your camera?"
It just does. Like you, if you ever want to fall into a rabbit hole, look at how put together with duct tape Fallout 3 is and like Skyrim, in terms of like all the fucking tricks that company has to do to get their game working to where.
Like, no. Put the NPC closer so we don't have to render the whole background. Put them closer.
So there are trains, I think, in Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, and under the train is an NPC, and his head is the train. So, like, they do stuff like that to get things working, to where the trains are actually like humans that are walking around, but you just don't see their body. You only see their head, which happens to be a train car. Like, there's weird stuff.
I wonder if Todd Howard's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna call CD Projekt Red and have them help us with next gen tech," and he's like, "No, the hell you're not."
Like, no. He's like, "Hey, give us 343," and then he's just like, "Oh my god, no! Are you guys okay with Obsidian? Obsidian's good." And they're like, "No, we still have beef with the motherfuckers." And they're just like, "Okay."
What about Kojima?
Yeah. We need this game finished on a timeline. Let's get Kojima in here to help us.
The scope and what they're trying to accomplish with Fallout in space, like, I think they're getting there.
Yeah, like, I think they might need more than a year.
Yeah.
Like, from what I saw, especially we only saw.
I don't care. I don't care about this game. I'm like, personally, emotionally, I don't care.
I was on the fence, and now I'm just like walking away from the.
I didn't care about it when it was announced before Microsoft bought them. Like, I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Like.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that might interest me. Now I'm just like, I don't care.
But
I don't care.
However, they showed gameplay.
They did show gameplay. But this is going to be, this reminds me of like when they first showed Halo and people were like, yo, that does not look next gen. So they're like, okay, we're delaying it and we're going to make it look next gen. And I feel like that's what we're going to get with this one, where there's going to be enough harshness with how Starfield looked to where they're going to have to be like, okay, we listened to you guys, Starfield 2024, and then like, that's going to be the first X on that picture, is this them having to move Starfield out of the way, because it's like, it doesn't look next gen. It just doesn't look like it's there yet.
So, yep.
This shouldn't have ended the show. I don't think it should have ended the show.
It should have been like in the middle.
Yeah. I think it should have opened it just to get it out of the way, but like, they should have given us like an extra minute of Redfall and then thrown Redfall at the end of it. If you're not gonna, if you're gonna stick with the like, here's everything.
So
what
do you think comes out first, Redfall or Starfield?
Redfall, because it's a multiplayer game. I could totally see them pushing that out and like within the next 8 months.
Okay.
January, February.
Yeah. So again, I didn't watch it live. But what I saw on social media appeared to be that there was some pacing issues with the show. Mm-hmm. And there was definitely some very flat times. I don't think there was any high highs. I don't think there was any low lows.
No. I think it was pretty steady. I think it was better than Summer Game Fest in terms of like actually seeing gameplay in like a diverse set of games. But I think it was an okay show. It was good. Like, I liked it. Like, I didn't feel like I wasted my time. Though Starfield should not have been how you ended that show.
So, yeah, I mean, overall, it was fine. Like, again, nothing outrageous. Nothing, like no wows. I think that, I think Xbox has heard the message of, we're tired of you telling us what's coming and then it not coming. So they're like, hey, like, whether they hit it or don't hit it, like, our goal is, like, these games are coming out in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
The showcase or the extended showcase they're doing on Tuesday, I fully expect to have some Avowed talk, some Outer Worlds talk, Outer Worlds 2 talk, some Hellblade 2 talk. I
don't think any of that's going to be there, man.
I think there'll be some conversation around it. I think there'll be people from the developers there talking about it. They might not show any gameplay, but they'll.
Okay, yeah. There won't be any gameplay.
But I think that they're going to leave all the little fluff and chit chat stuff. Like, I don't think we're going to get any additional Game Pass announcements on Tuesday.
No, it should just be follow up to what we saw here. But honestly, if they had like minutes carved out for Starfield on Tuesday, I think you scratch that out and you go, Redfall, can you give us like 5 more minutes of gameplay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think you can show Starfield again for a little bit.
Just to wrap this, because we really won't be talking for another probably 7 or 8 days. What do you think? I'm trying to word this, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, but what are the top 3 things that you've seen in the last 12 days?
Last couple days. So
I guess going all the way back to the state of play till today.
Yeah. So Ravenlock today, I thought was really impressive. Redfall looked cool. I'm not going to give you 3. I'm going to give you a couple. Skate Story from Devolver Digital Showcase looked really cool. I don't know if you got a chance to see that because it was in the middle.
I've seen
of
bits and pieces on Twitter about it.
Yeah, Skate Story looked really good. It's totally my jam. It's like cool music, cool visuals, and skateboarding. That looked good. And if we go back to thinking back about Summer Game Fest, I don't know if there's anything that really stuck out Summer Game Fest. And then Resident Evil 4 being announced, which we should be seeing more tomorrow. Resident Evil 4.
Oh, that's right. Capcom's got a thingy.
yeah. Capcom's got a thingy, and then another company said they have a thingy this week as well. So we're gonna see some more gameplay of some games.
So
what about you?
For me, it would have been the first surprise thing that surprised me was Shredder's Revenge release date, as close as it is. That's the first thing that surprised me.
The only thing you wanted out of this whole
and I'm fine. So and the other one, I don't know if you've seen the trailer. I think it was from the Devolver Showcase, the Plucky Squire.
Yes, that I was considering saying that, but I was hoping you would say.
Yeah,
that.
So the Plucky Squire and then Ravenlock. That looked really, really good to me. So those are the 3 biggest things for me, and then the I guess the sequel to Hollow Knight is making me want to play more Hollow Knight, like to see more.
Yeah.
Because as I'm seeing, they're obviously showing the cool parts and the fun parts, and I haven't gotten to that on Hollow Knight yet, and I'm wondering and I'm worried if I'm going to get there, just because before I get frustrated or something like that. But so those are the big 3 that stood out to me. Nothing crazy from the state of play, but I said on the show, the state of play is a Dave problem. Oh, the other one, what's it called? I take it back. I do have a state of play one. Eventide. What is that called? Where the arm got cut off, the dating simulator.
Oh, Interworld, Intertwined. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. The dating sim. Yeah. Dave's into a dating sim.
Only because the combat looked really good.
Can't wait for Dave to be like, I romanced the wrong character.
Michael's gonna make me stream that game. Eder Nights.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Lebetsky.
You were super into that. I just can't wait to be like, oh my god, which boyfriend did you choose? Because I'll play it too. Maybe it'll be a book club sort of game that we'll play.
It'll be a Patreon episode.
Yeah. Oh my god, did you pick Min?
The most eligible bachelor ever Nights edition. Eder Nights. I don't know why. It just kind of intrigued me.
No, it super looks good. And then Stray we've seen too much of, and it's got a release date, so I'm not even counting Stray. Stray's at the top of my list, but I already know I'm getting that, and they didn't have to do anything extra during the state of play to convince me to get that game. So.
Other than it's on Plus Premium or whatever, Plus Extra.
Which now I'm gonna have to Monday or Tuesday. I'm gonna have to look into fucking upgrading. But, yeah.
Do you think we're gonna get a blog post, a bigger announcement as the Plus expansion launch in the US?
Countries.
Yeah, but this is the biggest country. Everything I'm hearing is wait until it launches in the biggest market. They're gonna have to answer more questions in the biggest market.
It launches tomorrow, right? Right, the 13th.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it launches.
It launches
tomorrow,
on a Monday. The PlayStation Store is incapable of updating on a Monday.
They got to figure that out. Lebetsky, premium is trash unless we get NTSC. Like if we don't get NTSC PS1 games, then don't talk to me.
I'll go.
But
I'll go to Digital Foundry Monday night and see if it's any good.
yeah. I've just been going to Digital Foundry and then Mystic, who's been buying like all the stuff on all the PS1 games in every region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right. I mean, that's kind of our E3. I guess I don't know. E3. I don't know what to call this, but our June gaming.
Yeah.
So it's super interesting. The other little tidbit that I didn't realize, that I just want to kind of say out loud because people sometimes get things confused. Because people were like pointing at Microsoft, like, oh, 5 IPs, and by the end of our fiscal year, like Microsoft's fiscal year runs like June to June.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah,
right?
So just for the record, when they're talking about 2022, their 2022 fiscal year just started.
Yeah.
So, like, whether, like a lot of video game companies, a lot of companies end in February and March. I don't know why Microsoft's either ends in June or ends in May, but, like, this has been a lot of where that's coming from. So when people are like, well, yeah, it's going to come out in 2020. Yeah, this is what Microsoft is talking about. So,
yeah. I think that's it for not E3. But we'll be taking the next week off, though. We just did 2 episodes in 3 days. But
I think over the last 7 days, you've gotten 4 hours of content from us, which is a lot for us lately. So,
yeah. But we'll have stuff to talk about next week. I mean, Shredder's Revenge comes out this week.
Yep.
So I'm assuming Dave's going to start and finish that game this week, depending on co-op partners. Or him and Angela are just going to have to
Dude, if Angela plays, like, I'm totally streaming it because you'll see her like moving the controller like this.
And then Owen's just gonna snatch the controller from her hands and just be like, "I got this."
I think I can plug some random webcam into my Xbox, can't I? Like any webcam I can plug into my Xbox and stream from.
I know you used to be able to do that in the older ones.
Yeah. I'll have to look into that and see if I can stream from the living room or something.
Yeah. Shredder's Revenge comes out. I've messed with Rumbleverse beta. We got a bunch of different things kind of coming out.
Oh, you paid the Rumbleverse beta? You dick! You didn't tell me about it.
It was only for 20. They fucking announced it like last night on a blog post, like 24 hours only. And I was like, shit! It's 9:00 at night. I guess I'll download it. So, So we'll have stuff to talk about next week.
All right. So that's the Xbox Bethesda showcase, and that is again a tentative wrap on our June gaming summer fest. I don't know what to call it. As always, feedback, sharing, reviewing is helpful. Downloading, telling a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their mom to listen to the show is great. And I hope you guys enjoyed the extra content and have a great week. Keep moving forward.
Don't be a dick. See ya.